Hi friends and welcome to my nest. I ask, you answer, and so here we are. We're going to be sewing block number 1 of the Peaceful Basket Sew Along from Factwater Shop. This block is a block of the month that is going to be in our subscription box for the next 12 months, and this is going to be block number 1. So we are going to sew this block right here. So this is what it's going to look like right here. Okay, I am going to use my own fabric. This is what my fabric is going to look like right here. I am going with like a blues and gray, very summery. I know you guys are going to ask if I ordered the kit. I did order the kit, but it didn't come on time for me to film this video. It's en route. When I get it, I will sew it and I will show it with the second block if that works. But now we're going to sew block number 1 since you guys wanted me to sew it, so I am. This block looks, it's not complicated. It's a little, you kind of have to have your A game on. A beginner can definitely sew this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to sew it in order. I'm going to sew this half square triangle first. Okay, it wants us to make half square triangle and it wants us to make a 3/4 triangle right here, but it wants us to make it twice. What I'm gonna do is make it once and show you how you don't have to make it twice. So I'm gonna do that and show you step by step so you guys can follow along if you are sewing this block. If you are not a traditional sewer, not to worry, because this fabric right here that I'm using, it's not completely traditional. It's not super flowery. So you can kind of take your own block and you can use your imagination and making it the way you want it to be. So with that being said, that's what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to sew this in this color scheme. And I'm also going to sew it in the kit when it gets here, whenever that is. So with that being said, let's sew this block, shall we? Okay, this is what my pieces look like right here. Let me lower this lights. So this right here is Raleigh Blake, and the collection is My Mind's Eye, and I think this is the Gingham Factory from 2023, I believe. And then this is a Moda that I had in my stash right here. This accent right here is a Moda, and then this yellow is a Moda by April Rosenthal. I think it's Orchard collection, and this is a Bella Salad right here. The white ones are Bella Salad from my stash. All right, so this is just to let you know that yes, you can mix and match different collection and across different brand of fabric. There's nothing wrong with that. So, and there are people that are like, well, you know, I don't know if I can mix collection, if I can mix designers. Yes, you can, and this is example of that. So with that being said, let's start sewing. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the HST with O and R, right? And I've already made it ahead of time. So this is it right here. This is the HST that we need. We will need to make 2 of these, okay? So I've already made it ahead of time. So the next thing we're going to do now is take our O and M, right? And then we're going to make a half square triangle. Whatever you've chosen to be your accent color for the inside of the basket, kind of like a fold over, kind of like towel looking, the green fabric, we're going to make a 3/4 square, right? But this Q and M wants us to sew it 3 times. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is make a half square triangle, okay? And I'm going to show you here. So now we are sewing step number 3. First thing I'm doing is taking my Q and my N to make the 3/4 square. And I'm going to put them pretty size to pretty side, okay? And I'm going to sew down the middle. I'm going to make 2 HST out of this. This block is a little bit tricky to make, so you kind of have to be on your A game, but it's going to make sense here in a second. So now that this is sewn, I'm going to cut down the middle. I'm just going to go through this step by step because it's a little tricky. So I have here 2 HST. I'm not going to trim it or anything. So what I'm going to do is take what I've chosen to be the accent. I'm going to put it on top. Okay, I'm not trimming it, even though it's a little bit bigger. It doesn't matter right now because we're going to trim it down. So I'm going to put it pretty size together. And then when I open it up, it's going to look like that. And then I'm going to trim down the middle, and the other side is going to look like this. Okay, I'm just going to sew down the middle. Now trim it when I'm done. So if I flip it back, I'm going to have my HST right here. That's going to be nice and big enough for me to use, right? So I'm going to go around and sew the other side 1/4 inch apart from the center. So if you flip it over, you're going to have another HST. So what I'm going to do is make sure that this right here is the size that they're looking for. So I'm going to do that right now. I have my mat. So what I'm going to do here is put this nifty ruler on top and make sure that it's the right size that I'm looking for. And it is. And I'm going to come back around this way to make sure that it's the right size that I'm looking for before I cut. And it is. Even though this is a little bit bigger, it doesn't matter because I'm going to trim it down. So what I'm doing now is cutting down the middle. Doesn't matter. I don't have to have a perfect measurement when I'm cutting. All right. And then I'm going to take my ruler. If you don't already have this, it's called Clearly Perfect Slotted Trimmer. It is a lifesaver. You need to get one. So I'm going to put it on top, center it, and I'm going to trim. I still have all that I need. Okay, so I'm going to bring it over. Right there, we have our HST, our 3/4 HST that we need. Okay, and then I'm going to come around again and I'm going to trim this one, bring it to the number that I need, make sure my ruler is centered, and cut. So now I have a perfect 3/4 HST right here. If you put this way, this is going this right here is going this way, and this right here is going this way. I'm only making this one time. So when you look at the pattern, it has this, your green part is going this way. So you will need to make two of the 3/4 HST square. If you look at the screen, you have your, I just made this one time. You have the gray is going this way and the gray on this one is going this way. So all you have to do is make it one time. So that way you don't have to be all confused about it. So when you're making a 3/4 inch square, and you're sewing down the middle with a different fabric, one is going to look different than the other. So since this is going to look different and this is what we need, I can just make it one time, cut and trim down to what I needed. So that is done right there. So let's proceed to the rest of the block. Next, we're going to take our P and S and we're going to sew together. What I'm going to do is I cut them longer since we need two, and I'm just going to cut down the middle to get the right length. I've sewn and cut down the middle to get the size that we need, and now this is done. Okay, the next thing we're doing is taking our B and I piece, and we're going to sew down the middle and get 2 HSTs. So I'm just going to cut down the middle like this. Make sure I have my right size that I sewed, and then I'm going to trim. Now with sewing this block, there's a lot of step to sewing it. But if you follow the direction provided in the pattern, there's no reason why you cannot sew it. And the first step that I did and make like a little shortcut, you don't have to do that. You can go by what Fat Quarter Shop has in the pattern and then just sew it that way. The reason why I'm sewing it the way I'm sewing it is because it's faster for me, and I've done this for a while, and I wanted to show you if it's something you would like to also do. It's just a little trick to making 3/4 HST. And this is the most tiniest HST ever. That's tiny. And this one I'm just going to press open with my finger because it's so tiny. I feel like if I press it aside, it will create more bulk. These two right here are done. They are tiny. So I'm going to put it right there. So the next thing we're doing is taking our D piece. So this is my D piece right here. And I'm going to sew the L piece right here. Okay. And I'm going to sew right side together. So I'm going to take the teeny tiny HST that we just made right here. I'm going to sew it with my background facing this way. I'm going to press it to the dark, which is this in my case. So this is done. I'm going to put it right like that. All right. So next we're going to take our C piece like this, and then we're going to take our L piece, another L piece. We're going to take our other HST that we've made, and we're going to put it with this size like this. Okay. Now we're going to put this, the white part going this way, and then the color going this way. And I'm going to put it together like this, and I'm going to sew. So I'm just going to press to my dark. So now this is done. So we have two of this done. They're different sizes. So I'm going to put it like that. So the next thing we're going to do now is assemble our block. So I'm going to bring my mini little cutting mat here so you guys can kind of see. So the next thing we're going to do is sew these three sections together. So we're going to bring this. So now it's starting to take shape a little bit. And then we're going to take our solid H piece. It looks like it's taking shape. What I'm going to do is take that other HST that we made, and I'm going to bring it and put it like this. See how this is kind of taking shape right now. So we have another long piece that's going to go here, which is our G piece, right? And it's going to go like that. Now this block is a little involved, so you kind of have to keep it together. See how it's looking? And then I'm going to bring my K. I'm going to put it under like this. To prevent from getting confused, I'm going to sew this, then I'm going to add this side right here, which is our J piece. I will add it on after that. So that way it will make a little bit more sense. So now I've sewn all these pieces together right here, and it looks like it's taking shape. So what I'm going to do is take my J piece and I'm going to sew it to the side right like this. So this is the K piece going this way, then they are different sizes. And then this is the J piece going vertical, okay? So I'm going to sew it together and I'll take it and I'll press it. And I am going to press this part open because it's very involved. So let's do that. So now you can kind of see how these are taking shape, okay? But we are not done. There are other pieces that needs to go on next. So the next thing we're doing here is taking our DL and our little mini HST. We're going to sew it to the top of this right here. So now this top is sewn on. The next thing we're going to do is put this, the C piece with the little tiny piece right here in the HST. We're going to sew it on to this side. So now this is sewn on. The next thing we're doing is taking our K piece and sewing our E piece on to the end. So now we've sewn our K piece to the E piece and we're going to connect it to the side like this. So now that our K piece is sewn to the E piece and I've connected to this large piece, what we're going to do now is we're going to take another J piece with the E piece and bring it over on top like this. So that's what we're doing next. This is a very involved block and you will need to take your time making this block. This whole piece is sewn on and this is it for now on this part. And then the next thing we're going to do is take one of our 8 piece and then we're going to take our F piece and we're going to put it onto the corner like this, and then we're going to sew going diagonal. All right, so what I'm going to do is take my scissors and just cut down like so. So now I've sewn the corner piece on. So what we're going to do now is take this piece and cut down the line on this piece, and we're going to do the same thing to this piece right here. So I'm going to take my other 8, the plain A piece that we made that we have previously. I'm going to just cut down the middle. Okay. Now that's done. So next we're going to take this piece that we sewn the corner on, we're going to bring it down like this. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to bring it down like this. So now you can see how this is taking shape, right? This is the square piece that we cut diagonally. So I'm going to put it on top and I'm going to sew this piece to this piece and I'm going to sew this piece to this piece. And then we will be done. And you still have to trim down. You have to make sure that when you're sewing that this ear piece right here overlaps so you can have something to sew on when you go sew your other piece. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure it overlaps a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, just a little overlap is what you need. And then I'm going to sew. So this is my pressed flower. It's all done, completed, and sewn. I'm going to explain one more time with a 3/4 square. This right here was the one that I was explaining on at the beginning of the video, how to make this 3/4 right here and then make this 3/4 right here at the same time. Because when you sew down the middle, you're going to create two different 3/4 square, and they're going to be facing different ways. So whatever fabric you've chosen here, if you're not using the kit, you need to make sure that you face it going this way. So you're going to sew your N and Q as HST. Cut them an inch bigger than what the pattern calls for. So your HST, your N and Q, and then add your M as a whole square and then sew down the middle. So that was what I did to create this and this at the same time. And it's not perfect because I did chop off right here, and I'm not going to redo it and I'm not going to rip it because this block was a labor of love. Can you achieve it? Yes, but you just have to take your time in making this block. So this is it right here. The pattern is very easy to follow. So if you don't want to do the way I do it, you can just go ahead and follow the instruction in the pattern. Is well illustrated and it's very easy to follow. So go ahead and do that. If my way helps you, then go ahead and use my way. It's just a different way of doing things. That's why I'm showing here. So that's my pressed flower right here, and I hope that you are sewing along. So when you finish sewing this block, the pattern will tell you to trim it down to what it needs to be so you can have this perfect looking, almost perfect block right here. So here we go. This is my block. Block number 1 is in the book. I hope you guys are sewing along because a lot of you guys wanted me to sew this block. So here we go. And it's all done. Okay, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please subscribe down below. I am on the quest to getting to 2,000 subscribers, and I know that is not a lot for some people, but for me it'll be a big deal if you subscribe down below so I can reach that goal. Thank you so much in advance for your subscription. With that being said, I'd love to see you in my next video. You have a great day. Bye.